Yo, welcome back to Graffiti University Comics. Today we got a great episode. Today we got exciting news. Today I want y'all to know that we got a new comic book on the way. Shout out to my man Jai for being on the show. A year ago, we published the first W.B.C book. It was a success. A lot of people supported. A lot of people gave me a lot of feedback. Everybody was just excited about the book. So I did so well with it. Like I said, I'm on a journey to create as many W.B.C books as possible, telling my story. Today we got W.B.C. Second book, the Wave Nouveau era. That's like in the the early 90s. Who all know back in that time when it was people was wearing curls, the Jerry curls, the Wave Nouveau era. So,
I'm from New York. So,
yeah,
right.
See, in New York, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they wore Jerry curls in New York. Come on now, right?
But more like 85, 86.
Still, everybody was in that era.
More like in the
Afros.
thriller era when Michael Jackson was doing Thriller. But around then, we started wearing like flat tops and Gumbies. Slope. Y'all say slope, we say Gumby. You know
Okay.
Right.
But back in our era, down south in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
They were Wave Nouveaux and Hawaiian silks, and back then it was that era when, sort of like when the crack era first hit. You see what I'm saying? So it was like NWA. Who else? What's his name? What's the other guy from Cali? Special Ed.
Special Ed from Brooklyn.
No, I thought he was from.
No,
I didn't know that. I thought he was from California. Special Ed.
Special Ed.
The one with the Wave Nouveau, the hairdo, the fade with the curls at the top.
Yeah, from Brooklyn.
I don't know what. No, I'm thinking about DJ Quick.
All right.
That's who I'm thinking about. DJ Quick. I don't know why I got them mixed up, but that's the era this book is in. This book right here is W.B.C. The era when I grew up, Memphis, Tennessee, the Whitehaven area. By the way, for the record, W.B.C. was never a gang. We never believed in joining gangs. So if your big homie or your OGs told you something like that, it's cap. I come to create W.B.C. brand because I want everybody to know the true story of W.B.C. That's the whole purpose. One of the purpose of me creating W.B.C.
Right.
is because a lot of people wanted me to give them the story, my side of the story, because a lot of stories been added, subtracted, watered down. So I felt as though my experience as being in W.B.C. And for those who don't know what W.B.C. is, W.B.C. was a group of us that we hustled. We that's what we was about. We was about money. It was never about gang banging. But in the era the time W.B.C. came about, that's when the gang started flooding.
We want to know what W.B.C. the W, the P, and the C stand for. That's what we really.
Well, like I said, W.B.C. It's kind of hard to break down because it's different layers of it. Because
but those initials are strong and everything.
Well, a lot of people, it was called the Wind Branch Clique. You see what I'm saying?
Wind Branch Clique.
Yeah,
right.
But at the same time, in them moments, I looked at it as war, blood, and crime. You see what I'm saying? The reason why I looked at it as war, blood, and crime because that was my lifestyle.
Right.
That was the moment and era that I was in my life. I was in war. You know what I'm saying? Our blood got shedded, and I was in a life of crime. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, even if they didn't catch the first episode or the first comic book, W.B.C. Dope Boy Dreams, if y'all didn't catch that first book that came out, you all can check it out to get more details about me breaking down WBC, because like I said, a lot of people said they was WBC, or they hung around people that claimed WBC, but when it was time to go to war, a lot of people, they was nowhere to be found. Right. So by me being shot, losing my right eye, and blood, see, I lost blood sinked into the concrete, right? So I take it very personal. You see what I'm saying? I take it, see, I don't know about the other ones. So that's why it's very important for me to tell. That's why these books are coming out. These books that I'm creating is for this purpose, to tell my story, and to really, like, all the people that was around claiming WBC. And by the way, WBC no longer exists. You understand? It exists as far as now with the new brand.
Right.
See, what I decided to do, because I felt as though, see, you have to be there to understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because see, it was brotherhood with me, when the people that I grew up around. So I felt like when that brotherhood was broken, the trust was gone, the betrayals and all that destroyed it. You see what I'm saying? So in saying that, I felt as though I needed to tell my story, because not just for me, but like for the people, like family members, my family members, for people that like people that knew me, but that didn't know my story, or what my side of the story was. Because like I said, we was labeled, man. We was marked. We was labeled gang bangers and all that. No, I never joined a gang. You see what I'm saying? And that's the whole that's another purpose of W.B.C. rebranding W.B.C. is because I want people to know that joining gangs ain't cool. It's a lot of our youth is dying in the streets. They dying. They suffering. Mothers is crying. A lot of them going to prison. You see what I'm saying? A lot of them being locked up behind those walls. See, it's easy to be a gang member, or you can kill someone on the outside. But see, there's a different story when you get behind those walls. See, a lot of time when you get behind those walls, ain't no guns. You see what I'm saying? You either gonna join it, and that's another thing. See, a lot of them go to jail, they join gangs out of fear. You see what I'm saying? So, but see, when I went to jail, I couldn't join no gang because W.B.C. I stood on there. I don't believe in joining gangs. You see what I'm saying? Because like I said, just the era that I grew up as a Muslim, and I always believed in worshiping nothing but the Creator. Even though I was in the lifestyle of selling crack and being a part of their lifestyle, I always knew that I'm not gonna worship nothing or no man on earth but the Creator. And I had principles. You see what I'm saying? So this book though, go ahead.
You're talking like I didn't grow up in that same era.
All right, okay,
you understand what I'm saying? And then
go ahead.
We had our stuff going on here also. Like I mentioned, I'm from Brooklyn, so we had the Autobots and the Decepticons like really popping off back then. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And those are like the top two.
So they was like they was at war?
Yeah.
And they was called what now? The
Autobots and the Decepticons.
Oh, like the Transformers.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's powerful.
Right.
So that's why, like I said, see, me creating W.B.C. and telling my story, see, it gets other people to interact. Like you just gave me knowledge that I never heard of. Like that's something I want to do some research on.
Everybody heard of the DSEPs. The DSEPs was a little bit more popular. I don't know if they was more ruthless or what, but they name rung bells. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So that's what I'm saying. See, where I'm from, there's Vice Lord, GD, Bloods, Crips. See, it's a lot of them, but like it's a lot of gangs up under that gang label. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, they tried to label W.B.C., either Vice Lord or Bloods. You see what I'm saying? And we was never that. And that's another reason why I decided that I wanted to create these books, write about these books, because I needed to tell the history. I need to make a mark on what W.B.C. really was and what we was about.
Right. You know, just the social background and
yes,
right, that plays a heavy role in some of these things also, because what more do you have, you know what I'm saying, to get into or to do when there's not the opportunities like in other neighborhoods, you know?
Yeah, so like I said, we could take a look through take a journey through the books, and you can kind of, if you want, ask questions. So this book right here, W.B.C., like I said, it was in the early 90s. And
88, 89, I was gonna say, that's my era.
Yeah, you know 88, 89. So
right.
Like I said, the early, so back then, see now, they call it smash and grab. So this story is based around, the character is me and one of my friends, we burglarized cleaners. So we used to burglarize cleaners. So we used to bust the windows and go in and take all the clothes out the cleaners. And
y'all was professionals, because that big ass bag that y'all got there, that ain't no little shopping bag on your back over there.
So
looks like a Santa Claus bag.
Yeah, so this is like what, like I said, this is something that I was doing back in the days. I was around this age. I think I was like 13, 14, somewhere in there, and it was these big old projects called the Southbrook, right? This is where I was living. I had always, when I was that young, I had always had warrants. I always violated. I was on like juvenile probation or something like that, or house arrest, where I couldn't come outside. So what I would do, right, is like my mother, she worked the graveyard shift. She was a nurse. So when she used to go to work, she used to lock me in the house. You know, what kind of doors those was? Those urn doors. You know what I'm talking about? Storm doors, like a storm door.
The one with the pole in it, or the one where you lock it and you take the key out and nobody else?
You can't get out or in, right? So what I used to do, I used to take the hinges off the door and take the whole door off and go out in the streets and roam the streets at night. So when I used to go break into cleaners and do all that, so long story short, we used to do that. So I began to be on house arrest a lot, so where I couldn't go outside. So if the probation officer called the house, I needed to be there. So what I usually just said, forget it. And I went to live with my partner. These projects in this book is called the Southbrook. So I used to go live with him. You see what I'm saying? I was living with him. We was selling crack out the house, and we used to hustle. You know what I'm saying? We was hustling, still riding steamers. Steamers are like cars, stolen cars. So like I said, one day I don't know what made us decide to break into cleaners. I guess one day we was up late night walking or hustling by the cleaners, because the cleaners was by the corner store. Up here they call them bodegas, but up down south they just corner stores.
Yeah.
So we used to hustle up there by the store, and I guess, cause see, in the cleaners back then, you used to look through the window. It wasn't no alarms really back then, or no bars. See, that back then, people weren't thinking about breaking, but we used to look through the cleaner and we used to see all these, back then, I don't know if they wore these clothes up there, down south, it was called, they had stuff like used jeans.
Yeah.
What else?
Used, we had Damage.
Yeah, Damage in Kansas. Yeah, you're right, Damage, yeah.
Right.
So we used to look through the window, right? And we used to say, yo, look at them clothes. So one day he said, man, we going to get them clothes. So one day we bust open the window, man, and went in that joint, took the whole cleaners, and went to the house. So this is what this second book is about. It's about my experience with smashing. Now they call it smash and grab. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, now, you know, like, this is why we're not advocating for stuff like this. Now, you might as well say it's dry snitching, okay?
Yeah.
Because cameras everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But they still doing, that's why they got the mask now. They have the mask or that's why now when you see people smash and grab, they have masks. See, back then it wasn't really cameras.
This is where, you know, like, this starts to go down. Even though you block your face, you still have other mannerisms, you still have other identifying parts of you.
If you got on a mask, trust me, and a hat, a hoodie, it's hard with gloves, it's hard to
right, now you got accessories to go with the mask. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's a lot of, but back then it wasn't no cameras, and like I said, we got addicted to doing it because like we go in the cleaners, man. We come out, we got like leather coats. Back then they was wearing the starter coats, the football coats. You know what I'm talking about? Back then when they was wearing the big,
like, cause we was wearing triple fat gooses and 4x4 gooses.
Yes,
it was like in the goose era for us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like coats like that.
And bomber jackets.
Yeah, so going in those cleaners, we was doing that, and that was something that that's what this book is about. It's breaking down those type of different experiences that I had growing up. And go ahead.
No, I see that you interacted a lot with the cops, so that's another thing people don't understand. Like before, there was a corrupt system where it just seemed like it was never gonna end. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So some of the stuff that was going on out there might be orchestrated by, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think now it's like the gangs have more way like stealing hard cars and chopping them up and breaking into.
Right, but I'm talking about like what you was doing. Say you got pulled over by the cops. It might have been a chance you never made it to the precinct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But trust me, that stuff like that have occurred down there too. And like I said, me going back in time, and by the way, this book that I created, it took anywhere from about 16 months to create. It took a lot. I wrote the story. It's a pretty good thick book. Let me see. Like I said, I got my mother in the book. I always include what it was like for my mother, because my mother, she couldn't control me, man. It was like I was loose. She was doing all she could to keep me from getting into trouble or doing the lifestyle of the streets. But it was like I was just out there. Like I said, once I left home and was living in crack houses, selling crack, once I learned how to sell crack and to be able to save money, I wouldn't go home because, I mean, for one, I had warrants, and then I think, and for two, I was like at the age where I didn't want to live with my mother. I felt as though I was old enough now where I don't want to put a burden on my mother. So that was another reason.
You know, we was a lot more independent back then. Like basically, you know, I remember 4 or 5 going to the store. Even if I had a note, you know what I'm saying, to say everything I want. Mm-hmm. I learned how to cross the street at 4 or 5 years old. So it can get like that, especially any teenager. Once you hit those ages, it's like you want that freedom, you want to just rip and roar. So it's understandable because I've had those moments, but when I got in trouble here, it wasn't no police contact or that type of stuff because we had a jail here called Spofford, and you did not want to go to Spofford.
Wow, okay.
Right. You hear the stories, you see the people when they let them out, you know what I'm saying? But you did not want to go to Spofford, so it was a level to what you was going to do here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And see, that's why, like I said, now when I look back over my life, man, and what I went through in my life, you know, and then going back in time and writing the story and creating the story and the pictures and striving to it can be very emotional. It can be very it's a lot of shame, guilt, it's a lot of gratitude too, because I lived to tell it. You see what I'm saying? But me going back in time, traveling back in time, and creating pictures. I'm not only revisiting those moments with the writing,
Right, but you having a better understanding also, not to cut in, but your mom, what she was going through to try to keep you out of these situations, and just listen. You understand what I'm saying? All you had to do, that easy, just listen. So that's, you know what I'm saying, kind of the behind this book is to get people to just listen before they go down the wrong paths and do them, you know, same things and get the same, you know, results that you got out of them things when you don't have to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always tell people that, I remember, it's a lot of times people said, do you feel as though that your stories are too raw, or too hardcore? And I tell them, shooting a needle in your arm, or smoking crack, or seeing someone laying on the ground with a bullet in their head with blood gushing out their head, which one you think more raw, more, you understand what I'm saying?
But these neighborhoods, you're more susceptible of seeing these things, and it kind of desensitizes, you know, like right around here, we had Get Over Here. We had those violent games come. Street Fighter was one thing, but Mortal Kombat was something totally different. You understand what I'm saying? So it kind of desensitizes you to these violence and to these, you see people smoking crack every day. You might see somebody get shot in the park every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in Vanderveer projects in Brooklyn. That was a shoot 'em up neighborhood. And, you know, after a while, it was like, because we knew we couldn't go to the park, so we're playing on the roof. Yeah. Even more dangerous, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, them roofs on the high rise.
Even more dangerous. We're playing tag and freeze tag on the roof. You can fall off the roof and, we don't fly.
So that's why I always tell people that when you read my books, it's nothing more than what you're seeing in the neighborhoods or what you're listening to or seeing on the television. So, but the only difference between some of those clips or events is mine is my story of telling it from my true experiences. And like I said, the goal is to leave a blueprint through my books. So when people read my books, because like I said, I got all types of characters in these books. Like I said, I got the dope fiends, I got the the bugging drug addicts, you know, the people that's sleeping on the side of the street, you know what I'm saying? The people that's panhandling at the stores, you see what I'm saying?
I'm saying in modern days, it's like it's normal to see everything you just named. And the great thing about what you're doing is that it might change a lot of these, you know, impressions, because sometimes these people heroes that they look up to, just on the way to get out of whatever situation they're in. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes the streets be a little bit more welcoming than the situation at home that you're going through. You know, everybody don't have a mom. My mom was like your mother, who was willing to just work, and not sit around and collect. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody don't have that mom. So you might have the opposite mom, and then, you know, it pressure bust pipes, because kids could be cruel, Right.
And, you know, like I said, my mother, she had her share in the lifestyle as well. She had an addiction where I witnessed that, and it was painful to see my mother in such a situation. And like I said, when I seen her change, when I seen her reinvent herself, that gave me, like, it planted a seed in me that even though I was in the streets, hustling, selling drugs, and switched from that to using drugs and being homeless. See, I knew that, I just believed that one day that I wasn't gonna stay. Cause when I was out there using drugs and stuff, people used to ask me, man, you don't look like you're supposed to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? And
you know, just trying not to like make you feel worse than
drugs make you feel bad. But see, here's the thing. That lifestyle and the drug, not just the drug people that's on drugs, the lifestyle, it don't have no, it's just like the bullet. The bullet don't have no name when it hits you. You see what I'm saying? So the lifestyle, I don't see nerds. People come from a good home, get swallowed up in the streets. You see what I'm saying? I don't seen that many of times. I don't seen people, when I was out there hustling, I used to be around people that went to college. They was in college. They dropped out of college to come to the streets. See, that's one thing I didn't, see, here's the thing with me with the streets. See, I grew up in the streets because I really couldn't read. So I felt that though I couldn't go to school. You see what I'm saying? I could go to school, but it was hard. I couldn't comprehend. So I was good at selling crack and breaking into houses and stealing. So I was in the streets because I didn't believe that I could do that, right. Do what I seen other people doing. So when I seen people that went to college or was in college or even working, you see what I'm saying, even had a good job, I was one of the ones was trying to get out the streets. I wasn't trying to be in the streets.
But you didn't see no way out.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, but that's
going through those routes. Which,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like those, you logically would think those would be your heroes and those would be, but you didn't see that route when you looked at them. But when you seen all this other stuff.
It wasn't so much I didn't, like I said, I didn't believe I could do it. Cause like I said, when I seen,
vision.
Yeah,
that's what I say. You didn't see
what I'm
that,
saying
right?
is when I seen somebody in college, that shit just seemed impossible for me. You see what I'm saying? But once like I said, by me being incarcerated for so many years, being locked down, in jail, I was locked down like 23-1 because of the violence of the dorms we was in.
Oh, believe me.
All right, so the books or the newspaper became my TV because we couldn't see the TV because we was on lockdown. So I used to read books. So I began to read so much as where I caught on to how to read. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times you may see people in the streets, they may feel as though this all they got. They don't know how to, until I went around. So when I started traveling.
Right.
Go ahead.
But you had the support team and the people that you needed and the people on the right track around you. You just decided that you wasn't gonna listen. You understand what I'm saying?
Listen, I don't think that. I'm telling you, just like a drug addiction, bro, the streets is the same way. The hustler. Just like you see a crackhead or a dope fiend shooting heroin, a drug dealer is in the same situation. But he don't think he's in that situation, but he's stuck in the game just like the drug addict. You ever seen drug boys who's growing up hustling all their life and they 40 and 50 years old still hustling?
I'm know people
but you know why they like that? Because they stuck. That's all they know.
Right. I know people like
but
that.
See, that's something that I ain't never want to do. When I was selling dope, even though I was selling dope, I didn't want to be that. That's all I seen I was hustling, striving to get away from that lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? But
they all go back to listening.
Yeah,
you know
well,
they all go back to listening.
No, not in. I don't think so.
Because now you educate and you want people to listen to you.
No, what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. When you in that lifestyle, bro, just like you can tell a person, all right, for instance, you can go to school, they'll tell you don't do drugs. Drugs are bad for you. But when you go home, everybody's on drugs. So which one?
You still know drugs are bad for you.
No, you don't.
You know what I'm saying?
You can go to the neighborhoods right now. You see people smoking weed all day long. All day long.
It's legal.
No, but does it make it right? No. So what
I'm not saying it makes it right, but I'm saying compared to the time that this book, the era that it was written in, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's a cycle. What I'm trying to tell you, in the streets, right look wrong and wrong look right. See, when I was selling dope, right, you couldn't tell me that it was wrong. Because I seen that I'm hustling, I'm making money, I ain't asking nobody for nothing. But when I experienced the other side of that, I seen the damage. But until I experienced that, until I went through that, because like I said, people in the streets don't look at like selling drugs is wrong. They know they can go to jail and all that, but at the same time,
people that's on drugs, of course they're gonna look at it like that because they need you to sell drugs and bring the drugs to them. So
all I'm telling you is it's a messed up system of environment that we're in. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying, if they take away anything from these books, from when you're speaking and you're talking, is that sometimes you just got to listen. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to notice that just because mom is on your back to do better, that don't mean mom is the bad guy. And I'm just using mom as an example.
I was a very rebellious kid, bro.
Right.
I'm telling you. People who grew up with me that know me really, they would tell you, if they was around, they'd say, dude stayed locked up. He never, from 11, 12, all the way up to my 20s, bro. It was like I was incarcerated, and being incarcerated, it was like when I get out, I would stay out, go right back, get out. And when I got shot, once I got shot, it was like, I still went to jail. For instance, matter of fact, let's bring this up. Like at the back of the book, let's talk about the back of the book. The back of the book, I got mug shots.
Okay.
And see, these mug shots only from after I got shot. But before I got shot, I got many mug shots. So that lets you know the cycle that I went through. That was an ugly cycle, man.
Right.
And then we were talking. Now, here's the picture. This is the W.B.C. picture. The same picture we discussed the last time, remember? You was like, it's a lot of people in this picture, so this is the same picture. You understand? So what I did, I always blurred out the others because the story is based around my life. And I don't believe in, you know what I'm saying, I believe in leaving that anonymous. You see what I'm saying? Because that's part of, like I said, it's my story.
Right, but in this world that we live in now, all it takes is for them to get pieces, put it together.
Well, if they do,
you can go get court records. You can go get all of this stuff to put it together to see.
Well,
if they wanted to, but then you also have.
Well, if they do that, if they do this, listen. If they do stuff like that, like I said, the reason why I'm telling this story, because people lied on my name.
Right.
People did a lot of. They crossed me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They crossed me. And that right there, that's gonna stand on that. You see what I'm saying? Because W.B.C. is, a lot of people ran with W.B.C., claiming W.B.C. They ain't W.B.C.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose of every book that I create. I'm putting that picture in there because I want the world to know. If you claim W.B.C., you ain't W.B.C. W.B.C. didn't even exist before I was a part of it. You see what I'm saying? The people in this book, the picture that you see in this book, there was no W.B.C. before that.
I see the picture, and there's a lot of people in that picture, but then right in front of that picture, the page before, we missing 9 people.
What are you talking about?
The Rest in Paradise page. It's right before that.
The dedication?
Yeah. Those are members that are in the picture that no longer here.
You said dedication is
right.
No, that's like my family.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm thinking these is members of the W.B.C.
No. These are people I dedicated the book to, things like that.
Right.
So like I said, when it comes down to me telling my story, but see, here's the thing. When I'm creating this book, I use no names. I use, just like a movie, they use false names. You see what I'm saying? But it ain't about degrading or putting nobody down. It's about me telling my story, and because they told their side. They told, or I'm getting the dirt off me. That's what I'm doing. Because like I said, when you grew up around people that you looked at like your brothers, nah. It hit different. It hit different. I'm trying to tell you.
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to.
Have came a long way.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have stood stronger with them then, but you can stay strong
like I said,
on your own.
Yeah, I'm on my own because, like I said, you had to be there to understand it. You see what I'm saying? If you wasn't,
I wasn't specifically there, but some of these situations we grew up in the same era.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
you grew up in an era where it was the same situation but different faces. I understand.
Right,
that.
and then different times because at that time we had a black mayor here, Mayor Dinkins, and you know what I'm saying? It was just different, you know.
Yeah.
I understand, like, even when you have family members that are in the streets and have these demons going with them, there's a lot of pressure on you because, like I said, kids could be cruel, okay? Mm-hmm. They find out somebody's mom is on drugs or wino or something like that, okay? Remember, we snapped back then. We used to do snap. We used to snap. All of your mama jokes. Your mama this, your mama...
That's a bad thing when it comes down to seeing your family members on drugs and the kids making fun of you.
Right.
That could be one of the most painful things a kid can.
Right.
So that's, like I said, that's the whole purpose of me writing these books, because see, when I got on drugs, I experienced some of that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, see, when I was on drugs, I didn't have a voice. See, if a person, you know how they treat people on drugs, they don't have a voice when they in the streets.
People on drugs, people that's just down
health,
out of their luck.
Yeah.
Right.
So
they might just don't have a place to stay and gotta sleep on the streets. People that know them will walk by them and act like they don't see them there and act like they don't care. That's psychologically, damaging for them to. You just grew up with these people, you was welcome in their house, and now they see you and you're sleeping on the subway or in the park, and they turn the other way like they don't notice you over there. So that causes a lot of, cause and effect damage, basically.
Yeah.
Because of that, the next move happens. It might not be the best move that happens, but a move happens from that. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm glad you said I came a long way. Yes, I have, because like I said, see, when I got shot, it was already painful, me losing my eye. Me started doing drugs and experience what I experienced. But to be around the people that you thought was solid, you see what I'm saying? And they wasn't. That like put the cream on the cake. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like so I have to tell my story, bro. I mean, and somebody can learn from my story, because see, the whole purpose of me telling the story, I gotta heal. Cause see, I slept outside. I got incarcerated. I used drugs. Do I blame that on them? No, I don't. I understand I took this road. Road. It was my road. I'm not a victim.
Right.
I volunteered for the lifestyle. But to see your mans, somebody, your mans, your partners, nah, we gonna address that. And addressing that is me telling my story. And because, see, like I said, I wasn't around. So you could tell the story how you want to tell the story.
That's how it go anyway.
All right,
like
so
the telephone game.
All right, so listen. So if you're not around, you see what I'm saying? You're not around. The story is being told by he say, she says. So I'm here. This is my story.
The story becomes a tall tale.
No, it become a story, man. It's where, because like I said, I took it personal, man, when I see people saying that they W.B.C. and they ain't do nothing. I'm talking about, bro, like, they didn't do nothing. Listen to what I'm telling you, nothing. And for me to see that was like, even though once I got shot and realized that lifestyle, it was an illusion anyway. You see what I'm saying? But to be on the outside looking at it, and I'm the one like to like I said, a lot of them I met, they weren't even hustling. They weren't even hustling when they met us.
Right, but what people don't understand is that lifestyle is built off of loyalty, but
it ain't no loyalty. It's not a loyalty. Nah. So
it might be Lego bricks. You know what I'm saying? When you thought somebody was loyal to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So like I said, the whole goal, man, like I said, to sum this up, man, as far as this book, man, this W.B.C. book is W.B.C. Nouveau Era. This book, like I said, this goal is for me to share my side of W.B.C., tell my story, and also to, if anyone can read and study my book, my experiences and learn from it, I achieved the goal. That's the whole purpose of W.B.C. now. See, like I said, the W.B.C. that was back then, it's no longer, it was disrespected, so it no longer exists. So what I had felt as though I needed to do was, you know what, I'm gonna take the whole brand and I'm finna make it into, even though it was built off a negative vibe, now it's gonna be built off a good vibe. It's where it's educating people about the youth and educating people about the streets through my experiences in the streets. And so like I said, that's the whole goal, through my art to inspire people. And like I said, the first book that I published, W.B.C. Dope Boy Dreams, I got a lot of people. I sold a lot of books, and I also got a lot of emails and feedback from how people shared about my story. About
right. What era was that book in?
That era was, let me see, that was before this era. That book, that era, let me make sure. I gotta think. That era was before this era. It was about, we was still, this is why when we was selling rocks. We was selling rocks.
So that's really when crack first.
Yeah, and like I said, and I remember times I didn't even have rocks. I would go rock up fake baking soda and water. or we would go.
Disclaimer.
No, I would go to the store and get, like, they had these erasers that looked like crack.
Oh Lord.
Where it was brown. It looked like you could chop it up, and we used to put oil gel on it. So, cause back then, people used to take the rock and they put it in their mouth.
Right, 2 seconds.
Yeah,
right.
to numb it, to see if it's real. So we now, I mean, like I said, to
guess what? They still using that same trick.
Yeah,
right
so
now,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that was like maybe a year or two before this book. So to fast forward to what's next.
That was like the real hardest drug time. A couple of years.
Yeah, when that hit,
Right.
That's when it really hit. That's when
the houses like completely changed. Everybody had like a Martin Luther King picture in their house, and then after that, it was sold. Okay.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was really rough.
My aunties and uncles, it hit them hard. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's family was hit.
Yeah, and still to this day it's hitting. But see, the difference now is it's hitting the youth. See, the youth now is like, they like dope fiends now. Like the fentanyl, the K2, the weed is like twisted with, they putting, see, they like now the music has teaching people to get high. You see what I'm saying? Getting stoned.
I mean, the music been...
Yeah, but it's worse now though, bro.
I think when Jack and Jill went up the hill, they was drunk or high, stoned or something, so they fell. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, like I said, with this book, man, I want y'all to support W.B.C. It's available at Amazon.com. It's a great book.
I just got one last.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What message would you give the kids, you know, knowing what you know now that you didn't know while you was growing up? You know what I'm saying? What message would you give them to ensure that they wouldn't be bullheaded and like, I'm doing it, it's my life? And what message would you give them to get them to take the time and just read between their parents and the people who care about them and see them as more of people who's trying to avoid those situations instead of people who just trying to stop you from having fun? Because, you know, kids, everything is just fun for them.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this. I think every century there's a new era, and I ain't the first to come through with this message. You understand? So it's like, because I heard the message when I was sitting in juvenile. Somebody came, some dudes from the streets, they changed their life, they had God in their life. I remember sitting in juvenile, and it was like 3 or 4 of them, and they was be talking about changing your life, the streets ain't it, and this and this and that. I just felt as though like, you can hear the message.
Right, but what would you tell them so they do more than hear the message?
Well, I look at it like this. Sometimes
change the whole narrative that they was going to go down.
Sometimes the best teacher, bro, is you burning yourself. See, I burnt myself. Like I said, I remember not just those. It was several times I heard people, but
you was very, very, very lucky. You know what I'm saying?
I was blessed.
Right. Blessed is a good word too. But you had that. A lot of people don't have that. Look how many people.
There's a lot of people die, man. Right. Like I said, it's like, what I can tell them, man, is like, if you think that lifestyle of the streets is cool, you need to change your vision. Because even the lifestyle of going to prison, they glorify people going to prison. But see, one thing they don't know, see, you can go to jail and be a bitch. You see what I'm saying?
Oh.
And come out
it shows.
And be, now listen.
Right, it shows when you get to jail.
Now listen, I don't seen people go to jail, right? Be the weakest, quietest person in the jail. And once they got out and went back to their neighborhood, people praised them, and not even knowing that they was quiet in jail, or they didn't even come out their cell. They didn't do nothing. You see what I'm saying?
But this is where that telephone game comes in too, because when you got somebody else, your cellmate, jail stories. And
so that's what I'm trying to tell you. Right. That everybody that go to jail don't think that. And I don't know. Like I said, when I was in jail, I did a lot of time. I did like over 10 years in jail, bro. And me sharing a cell with somebody, the food, the lockdown, none of that shit was cool, bro.
Right.
None of it. But I'm gonna tell you, I do believe this though. I do believe that in my midst of traveling, the Creator allowed me to go into those jails, because I believe jail saved my life in some periods, because it was times that I was so messed up on drugs even before I was doing drugs, before I got shot, I went to jail so much that saved my life. And then once I began to be homeless and on the streets, I would go to jail. I'd rather be in jail than be on the streets using drugs. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather be, if I could, I'd rather be in jail than to be out somewhere in a drug house getting high, bro. Cause in jail I couldn't get high. Even though people get high in jail, I never get high. When I went to jail, I wasn't getting high. Because like I said, my mind always been like being in a maze when I was selling crack. I always wanted out. I ain't want to be no 45-year-old dude talking about I'm a hustler. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be known for being a drug dealer at 45, 50 years old. I don't want that. That to me, that you lost. If you hustling you hustling from teenage all the way up to maybe your, I'm gonna say 30s. If you ain't made it then, you still see a lot of them stuck though, but they don't know they stuck because
no, they know they stuck.
Yeah, but a lot of them, some of them know they stuck, and some of them don't know they stuck. You see what I'm saying? Because some of them think that they true to it, they the realest and all that, but you stuck. I just feel as though my goal was to never be in the dope game all my life, or because I felt as though once I started traveling, bro, I hated myself because see, when I was hustling, I wouldn't leave the block.
Because
I sold drugs.
The average person don't leave the block.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when I was in the streets, right, I hustled every day. I wouldn't leave the block. But once I left and started seeing the world, bro, I cheated myself. Standing on them and hustling in a 4-block radius. Right. So with that, y'all, I just wanted y'all to thanks for this great episode with this amazing book. If y'all want to support W.B.C, New Wave Nouveau Era is available at Amazon.com. Until then, y'all stay tuned for the next episode.